Hey everyone, this is Sensei Arthur, and today we are going to go over how to make your jab or your lunge or lead punch more effective. So we're talking about the stationary lead punch, not the stepping one. And there's some things that we have in the routine that are very unique, and they'll help everybody. So it's going to be technical, but I think everybody will be able to pick this up over time. And even the younger kids, if they practice doing this, and it's probably going to be too big of a motion for them that they'll probably exaggerate it, but that's okay. Over time, they can shrink it and make it smaller. So this is one of the routine secrets for Taiko Yato's jabbing style lead punch. That gives you more whip, snap, and power on your lead punch or jab that makes it feel like a cross or backhand punch. So the first thing is, just so you guys understand, that a jab, for those that may not know, is when your front hand is doing the punching, okay? So you have your stance, however you stand, your front leg, the hand over that leg, is the jabbing punch, okay? So and the jab is usually like what they call a feeler punch, or finding your range punch, or you kind of just getting your feel for things, and then you're measuring and distancing, right? Some people use it for that. Some people had a devastating jab, like Tommy Hearns, no relation, I don't think they say all Hearns is related, but no relation. But Tommy Hearns was known for his jab, and he could knock people out with his jab. So if you use the jab the right way, it can be devastating. Remember, in Rute and here at Hands of Life, everything we do, every punch we have, has another use on the flip side for defense. So I'm teaching it as this, and in future lessons I'll show you how to use that same jab for defense, not actually as a punch. Okay, but today let's keep it on the basics. So your front hand is your jabbing hand. Okay? Your backhand is what they call a cross. It doesn't mean it crosses over your body, but it's a crossing punch. It crosses from the backside to the front. Okay, so it crosses this hand. So if I have a jab, front hand, front hand, front hand, the cross crosses past over the line of the front hand. Okay, so cross is also called reverse punch in martial arts. So with the jab, however you have your stance, in Rute we do what we call a triangle stance, okay? So that's where our feet kind of form this type of, I don't know what the ballet position for the foot position is, but it's like a triangle here, leaving the one side off. So it's two sides of the triangle. And when we do that, and even if you're in a basic boxing stance, either way, what's gonna drive our jab is our heel, okay? So our heel is gonna shift out, maybe about, say it's about a 3 to 4 inch arc going out, right? And you're shifting your weight. So your weight should be on the front leg anyway when you're hitting with that front hand, but you're shifting out. And what that's doing is making a different alignment in your body. And that alignment is putting more of that body weight behind that jab. So if I'm this way, and I just hit this straight, I can use my back leg to press into this jab a little bit, and it gives me some power in my hand as opposed to just my hand doing it, okay? So if I push in with my back foot, I get some power on my jab. If I push in with my back foot and I arc my heel out, I get an alignment that gives me this type of angle, okay? So it's almost like me using the strength and power of a horse stance, which is one of the strongest stances we have side to side. Somebody can't even push you out of this position because it's so strong. Well, if you can use that same structure to support impact going this way, that's what you're doing. So it's very deceptive, very powerful, it makes it faster, and it puts something more on your jab, so it's like having two power hands instead of a jab hand, which is probably not as strong as your backhand. So we're gonna work on, first, just this. Now, what I'm not doing is I'm not leaning on my back foot, just twisting my heel out, okay? And I'm not just doing this either. My weight is on my front leg, okay? So you see, I can shift a little bit and bring my back leg up. It's not too far on the front, like a front stance where I have to shift too far back to change the weight. But my weight is slightly on the front. And when I shift, I drop my weight more onto the front, right? When I drop that heel out, I drop my weight more. Boom. Now, I'm showing you this. If I had jabbed something and you didn't know anything about this, you wouldn't even notice my foot. You would just see my hand shooting out like anybody else's jab. But this is done in teaching speed, and so you can see it. We're telling you what the move is. But if nobody ever pointed this out to you, this is not something you would pick up because nobody stands there and does this 20 times so you can see how they throw their punches. All right, so the jab, heel drop, heel drop, heel drop. Make sure, see, my weight is on this heel, on this front leg. My knee's pushing forward still, and my weight is on that side. So do that, I'd say do it 10 times, take a rest, do it again, 3 sets of 10 on this side, 3 sets of 10 on this side. And then take a break, and then do that again. So it's a total of 6. 60 reps on each side. It's really not that much, but don't just rep them out for the sake of repping them. Really feel your body weight. Shift and drop, shift and drop. When you feel comfortable with that, one side's gonna feel better, and this is all gonna feel a little awkward because you've never done it. So make sure, after you do that, when you get to the hand, adding the hands, let's just talk about the hands, not forget the feet for a second. Your hands should be in your guard position, about eyebrow height. Chin should be slightly tilted down. You don't want your body bent forward, but chin tilted down, hands up, okay? And your knuckles, the knuckles that you knock on the door, are roughly about eyebrow height. Now this is just a basic hand position. There's many different what they call kamae or hand positions and ways you can stand. Ideally, at the highest levels, your hands aren't stationary. They're not just stuck in this position. But for basic training, we're going to keep them, learn how to keep our hands up so our face is protected and we don't have to go against gravity to react to protect our face. Okay? So hands start up here. This way you can use gravity coming down to defend, or at least stay at the same level. So you have hands at eyebrow height. This elbow stays pointing down, okay? And then it comes out. So the jab should be hard to see and hard to read. You don't want to telegraph your punches. So for the younger kids, if you're watching this, then make sure that they don't raise their arm out. A lot of humans do this. They feel stronger when their body does this type of pushing motion, but they're going to end up hurting their wrist and their shoulder. So the elbow stays down. The key is that elbow stays down, and this comes straight out. Boom, straight out, straight back. So it should be hard to read the distance because you don't see something coming at you necessarily. You don't see this, and then that gives you a different view of how your eyes see the arc of the arm coming out. It's easier to read that motion. Elbows down, hand comes straight out, right? Hands at eyebrow height. That's your jabbing motion. So fire that motion, this type of motion, right, with the heel. So I'm going to use that. There's my jab without it, and that's with it. So there's a different power I feel when I drop my heel out to the side than when I just go, watch the base of the bat. That's my arm. This is with the back leg. This is with the heel. You can see it. It looks the same if you didn't know what I was just teaching, but when you do it, you feel it, and when you're receiving it, it's different, okay? Now, what I was saying about defense, if I'm blocking with the same type of motion, right, I'm using this part of my wrist to cover on the arms. If somebody punching at me, it's the same. I use that same motion. So if you're using that now in a block, it's going to make your block feel way heavier and put way more pain on that person's arm. So remember, every action can be for offense or defense or both. Okay? So work on your jab. After you do the feet, the 6 sets on each side. Then I want you to go back to the hands and do the same thing. 3 sets of 10 on this side. Boom, 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 boom. Then my foot is leading that. I'm leading with my foot. You do that 10 times, 3 sets. Then do this side, boom, boom, 10 times, 3 sets, and then switch back and switch back. So you have a total of 6 sets of 10 on each side again. For the younger kids, they can do less. Maybe half of that, but the key is to practice and get repetition. So maybe have them do half at one point, and then later in the day, half then, and then the next day the same thing, and then videotape them making progress, and you submit that to the group. So that's the technique of jabbing, using the heel to trigger the jab, and how to make your jab faster, stronger, and more powerful by using your whole body behind the jab, triggered by the heel. All right? Thank you. Have a good day. See you guys soon.